Hello everyone, welcome back to Huntcraft. Happy New Year to you all. I hope you all had a great holiday and didn't just spend it playing Hunt. Who am I kidding? We all did. I hope you're excited for Hunt in 2025, because you know what? 2025 is going to be an amazing and exciting and a great new era for Hunt. Full of improvements, and the game will be soaring to new heights. And I don't know if what I'm saying is true. But hey, that's the positive outlook I tend to have around New Year, so let's go with it. It doesn't have to be true, but at least we can wish for it. So I thought in this video, I go through some of the things I wish to see or never see in Hunt's future. Before we start, please remember that likes and subs to a YouTuber are like a bounty token and a clean extraction. What's the point of playing if you don't get them? So please, like and subscribe. And let's go. Let's start with the things I wish for. Some are minor quality of life improvements or nice to have, and some are things I really wish for. So in no particular order, number 1, replays. I'm sure they promised this at some point. I had to go back to dig for this, but that was promised ages ago. And in November 2023, there was an article where David Fifield said, one addition Hunt players have long clamored for is a post-match 2D map replay feature. We've talked about that one for years, admitting that Crytek have perhaps been too vague in specifying when and how they'll introduce such feature. We might have made statements like we'd love to add a replay feature, but that doesn't mean it's on the roadmap with a plan to ship. It's also a lot easier said than done. And the fact that it's been on and off development for a couple of years, and then he says they are still figuring out how it could work or should work. And he's trying to be more clear and transparent with us that there are things they consider and look at, and there are things that they can commit to. That sounds a bit confusing. On one hand, he says they might have made a statement like, we would love to add a replay feature, which doesn't mean it's on a roadmap, but then he says it's been in development on and off for 2 years. Why is it in development for 2 years if it's just a, we would love to add this feature? And what does a roadmap actually mean then? Well, David, I went digging into older streams and found this one on February 2021.
So one question that's not custom ammo, but a lot of people ask it, is the 2D replay after mission. Is that still happening or?
Yeah, we still have that on the list, and this is, I'm personally, like, this is one of the features I'm the most excited about, and I can't wait until we have this in a state where we can talk about it more.
He said, until we have it in a state where we can talk about it more. That doesn't sound too vague. That doesn't sound like it was never on the roadmap. That sounds like it's being worked on at least. I'm assuming that's when it was on in development in those 2 years. But that's all the info we have about the topic. And this was on the old engine. So it would make sense that they at least knew that they can implement something like this back then. So now with a new fancy updated engine, it should be still doable and maybe better and easier. And I understand that a heat map is far easier to implement than a full replay. But in the nicest way possible, I don't care. An actual replay feature is 100 times better for both learning from your mistakes and for spotting cheaters properly. If you suspect someone is cheating, wouldn't it be better to see their actions from spawn, so that when you report them, it's better informed? Look at the depth of detail in Marvel Rivals replay, for example. PUBG has replays as well. I could argue that at least for new players who really want to learn from their mistakes, Hunt is the game that needs this the most. It would be a really helpful tool that can accelerate new players' speed of learning the game. How did this guy see me? What did he hear of my actions? At what distance? How did he know I'm here? What exactly is that angle where he had a line of sight on me? I thought I heard him move from here to here. Did he? There's no alternative for new players to gather so much info from a few deaths, which means the amount of failure you need to start improving is way too high and could be demoralizing. And I get that this is complicated. It's not like some 4K video recording needs to be running in the background on each player's computer. The game would normally collect the data of player actions and then they get replayed in a game to recreate the events, which probably still means a load on the server logging those events if they're not already logged for other purposes. And more importantly, the replay has to collect accurate data so that the replay will have the same outcome as the live game had. And Hunt's bad netcode and slow tick rate might be a big problem in that regard. But none of those are excuses. They should fix the netcode anyway. That's the reason you improve your infrastructure, to be able to give players a more feature-rich product. Please let me know what you think about this topic in the comments. I really wish they would implement this at some point, or at least tell us if they've fully dumped it. Is it even still an idea after the engine update, or is it completely behind them and they're now focused on Post Malone and maybe P. Diddy next? Number 2, spectating after extraction. Say you ran out and you want to know how a fight you escaped ended up like, or if the players you left behind with a 5-minute timer managed to get out. Or if you suspect there's a cheater on the map, so you run out and extract, but you still want to spectate them to make sure that they are cheaters before you report them. Or if you're a dickhead who puts traps on extractions and you want to see if they killed anyone. It's not a big deal, but it could be cool to have and probably not that complicated to implement. Number 3. This is a pretty simple one, but duos queuing up for trios and getting a solo fill is overdue. Number 4. Ping limits or region lock. I think the hit registration fix made a difference for sure. Trades are still happening, but most of them seem fine for me. And from memory, I don't think I've had any of the ones that seem to be super delayed, like the horrible ones back in the 800 millisecond times. And if you don't know much about this topic, I have a video in the link above going through it in excruciating detail. But there's still lots of out-of-region players that just shouldn't be there. And again, that's an infrastructure-related feature. You need to have better tick rate and more server locations to accommodate for those players you sold the game to. I know Tarkov has a ping limit, for example, or at least had one. I think it was 160 ms or something. That means if your ping goes higher than that, you just get disconnected. And if a game has such feature, it sure as hell should have a good, reliable network infrastructure and netcode, so that if the player gets punished that way, it's not an unfair action against them by a weak system that's misjudging the quality of their connection. Number 5. A public API. This seems like a no-brainer too. I've always said that Hunt lacks any interesting stats. Look at yourself. If you have thousands of hours in Hunt, what do you actually know about your history? Really? The number of hunters you got to 50? The total kills, deaths, and assists? That's freaking it. You got nothing else to show for it. You can't say, hey, look at my accuracy rating with a bow. Look at how many kills I got with a crossbow. Or I land most of my headshots with an AFTO. You got nothing. The weapon that kills you the most? The compound where you tend to win the most? What's your best performing gun? What's your worst performing gun? How many times each boss has killed you? We've got nothing. No history in Hunt. I'm not saying this makes or breaks the game, and I'm not even saying Crytek should actively work on these stats. Just create the API and let third parties and fans do this. I still remember that tiny little attribute file that we had that at least allowed us to gather some info and learn more about ourselves and who we killed or who killed us. They took that away for the silliest reasons that are really hard to believe. Number 6. Banish speed. This is also a simple quality of life, but if you kill everyone in the map before killing and banishing the boss, there is no need to wait for 3 or 4 minutes to get the token. If the map has no other players, just get it over with. Give me the bounty token right away and I can get out of here and get into another game. There's no value to some perceived suspense of wondering if there are players on the map or not. It's just a net waste of time for 3 players. Get them into the next game quicker. Queues will improve that way. Number 7. Pretty simple and clear. Moving targets in the shooting range. It helps people practice tracking with each gun and adapting the bullet velocity and drop. Now let's talk about things I wish to never see in Hunt. Number 1. This shit. Having an extraction next to a boss lair? Please make it stop. Here we spawned at Machine Gorge, just had a quick fight at the circus, while those guys spawned there, killed the boss, and poof. We had no chance to contest, especially when it's a one-boss map. I get that this can be considered RNG, same as you running and getting headshot by some camper in a bush, but at least the camper you can expect or be careful or suspicious of, and then you can have a chance to maybe do something about it. But brain-dead, net negative RNG that you can't do anything about isn't great. This, in my view, is very similar to AI at spawn in Bounty Clash. What meaningful addition to the game experience is added here? You can spawn and run towards the lair, or you can spawn with an immolator or a pack of dogs in your face. Really pointless. Number 2, remove the AFTO and revive bolts. The AFTO is just an abomination. It's like a party pooper. It doesn't fit the game. I don't know whose idea is it, but it's completely alien to Hunt. Why would a game with all the design elements that Hunt has to make it a tactical game where careful actions and smart plays and movement are rewarded have a dumbass lunatic running around spamming a machine gun, penetrating walls and killing people without aim? Just get rid of this crap. I promise you nobody will complain. For revive bolts, at least punish revive bolts by being special world only ammo, or you can carry a maximum of 2 or something, or you cannot equip them in both slots. Maybe make them not heal. They're just way too silly the way they are. And they go against their philosophy of combating stalemates by making Necro a burn trait, for example. Number 3, and this is the biggest deal for me, no crossplay. If there's one thing that can make me quit Hunt, it is badly implemented crossplay. This seems to have been hinted at some point, but I think I was reading the hints wrong, maybe, hopefully, because it turns out those hints had to do more with the game coming to Xbox Game Pass. I dread nothing more than crossplay. I don't want to have to deal with aim assist. I don't know of anyone who plays controller on PC, but I don't want to play against controller players. I don't even know what aim assist is like in Hunt right now, but rest assured that if they implement this, they will need to buff aim assist to be competitive with mouse and key, and we'll have a whole new world of complaining and whining from both sides, saying this is unfair. And if something like Warzone is anything to go by, console players will be able to disable crossplay to avoid PC cheaters, while PC players won't have the option to disable crossplay to avoid controller players. But then a buffed aim assist will encourage PC players to play controllers. It will be a nightmare, so please don't ever do this. Anyway, those are the points I thought about for the future. Let me know in the comments what you think about those points, or if there's any other points you think I should have mentioned. Happy New Year again, and thank you for watching. And please remember to like and subscribe. See you in the next one.